I think I might end up growing some hair. After that game, I feel invigorated. I feel hyped out. And I'm happy I won't have to talk. Tua is the worst quarterback in the history of quarterbacks, at least for a week. I think it's fair to say at this point that Tua isn't the worst quarterback of all time. I do think that a lot what we saw today was inflated by a eviscerated secondary. But that doesn't take anything from Tua because he did what he should have done with two, shall I say, stud receivers. We had some protection. We had some element of a run game. And just the little bit of protection and the little bit of the run game was an accelerant to this offense. And it was kind of things I had spoke about. And it was an unbelievable day. It was a snooze fest. It was wild, then became a snooze fest, and then it became heart attack city, right? What an amazing day. Thankfully, all day yesterday, my kids had me in this park thing by the beach, riding this bicycle thing with the whole family on it. My wife doesn't like to pedal. My kids don't like to pedal. So Curtis was pedaling all day, and I was exhausted. Because you know what? If I wasn't, I probably would have had at least 2 or 3 coronaries and a stroke. Because it was such a wild day. But at the end, this is what it's all about. And I think that all the fans, Fin fans, should at least unite on this day. And I know there's a lot of good Fin fans that don't like Tua. I know that. And there's a lot of fans that are totally in love with him. But on this day, we can all say our quarterback, I love my quarterback, did his job to an exceedingly high level. And we can just focus on other things, like seeing how the Bills play Monday night and getting ready for that huge matchup. Before I get into the day, I'm going to have my little chapters. Not exactly certain what the chapters will be. I'm thinking, I'm so erratic right now because I watched this game as a fan again. My one son that got to do the Waddle dance, and then my younger son was watching it, and they were both doing the Waddle dance. It was beautiful. I'll get into that later. 2 Curtis children doing the Waddle dance, watching the Dolphins game with Curtis made my heart feel great. Anyway, it's going to be, obviously, it's always Tua first. Today, we get to do a happy talk on Tua. So it'll be Tua, offense, defense, context, and going forward. Let's see if I can stick with that because I might not remember it all. I'm so excited. What do I do? Anyway, before I get into all that stuff, I want to say thank you all for stopping by. There's great fans from other teams that are stopping by just to hear about our Dolphins because they're classy, cool people. And my Fin fans, this is our moment. I'm happy you're here. Thank you for the likes, the subscribes, the comments, especially the comments, the views from all fans and all fans from everywhere on the planet Earth and beyond. I don't know what I'm saying right at this point. Anyway, I want to give a shout out to Ace Per Head, my sponsor, because without them, I wouldn't be here right now. It's just like without you guys. This is a good day, ain't it? A good day. Ace Per Head's betting software is the premier white label platform for bookies to manage their players and grow their sportsbook operation. Click the link in the description below to get set up in minutes. Ask for the Curtis promo and get a special introductory discount. All right. I got to pull myself down from somewhere in the ether. Got to get some coherent thing going on here. Could be back to evaluate it. Well, I don't know. I said if we win, I might be defending Curtis all week. I don't know. No, I'll be back to the evaluate it tomorrow. But come on, guys. What a day. People were saying, do it, deceptions. Do it, done. Do. And then it turned around. I mean, can anybody say those 6 touchdowns were all luck? 6 touchdowns, 2 picks, 469 yards at 72 and a little bit extra, I believe, percent completion percentage. How do you justify that to say he is the worst quarterback ever? Now, I do agree. A big portion of this is, the Ravens were one of the worst, maybe I think the 32nd or 31st pass defense in the league, and they had injuries up the yin-yang. Everybody was knocked out. And Hill and Waddle are just monsters. They feast on holes in the secondary or inadequate secondaries. You saw a little difference last week because the secondary was much better. The defense was actually much better, which was a little surprising. But there was so many tight window throws by Tua. He didn't get in the dumps. Some of those boots that I talked about, he's not athletic. He's got no athletic talent. He doesn't. He could barely walk. You saw him boot out, get out there, make some moves. He has a skill set that can be accentuated. This is a very high accentuation, obviously. But if you give the kid a little bit of protection, a little bit of a running game, you can have a very successful offense with this kid in the right framework. He's got excellent release, touch, throws. Some people say he's not a gunslinger. He's a gunslinger. He throws into tight windows. He's had some of the highest tight window throws consistently since he's been in the league. He's aggressive, and he has some movement skills. He can short area quickness, the ability to get upfield. He's got agility, and he does have very good anticipation. This kid, if you build an offensive line, is going to be successful. This does not mean he's the elite. But this is one, I'll go PG-13. Hell of a day. I was fried going into today. I had the sun on me. My legs were worn out from that bike. I did a video, like a crazy long video, Tua or not, like every offensive play to try to show that this kid is not the problem. And then the tech guys, they usually bail me out from screwing up. They screwed up and mixed up the audio so it wasn't right. I was in a frenzy. But today, Tua justified all the hard work and belief. Again, not to say he's the greatest ever, but this kid is a player. And I don't have to do Tua or not video this week and spend 20 hours on something that's abundantly obvious. Kid can play. Still got to see what he does in big situations going forward. There's a lot more to write to the story. But I think this signs, seals, and delivers. He ain't the worst quarterback ever. Good. Even the fans who don't like him, and maybe gave him bad evaluations, at least they could say at this point, the kid's not garbage. Maybe there's a little bit of hope. This should bring all Phins fans together to be happy. Whether you're on one side or the other, the end goal is for our Dolphins to win. Now, there's loads of context. I'll get into that later. I know some fans right now are like, Tua's greatest. He's number one in the universe, and we're going to the Super Bowl. Maybe. We got a long way to go. Week 1 really set the floor in my mind. This was a glimpse into the ceiling of the Miami Dolphins. Next week is going to take this top level we saw with the Ravens and this floor level with the Patriots, and it's going to bring it into context. It's going to sharpen up the focus. So let's see next week. Next week, these 3 games, you need 3 data points for a trend and for a line. Next week is a great game. All Bills fans should be excited. Whatever happens against the Titans on Monday night, they can come in. If they win, they'll be first in the division. If we win, we'll be first in the division. Big AFC East game. 2 AFC East teams rising up. Let's see how it plays out. But it's a real important game, and that's great. That's great I got a lot of Bills fans here and Phins fans. And Tua, won't be the focus. There'll be lots of focuses, but this kid has earned a break. Anyway, 40. Getting a pacemaker over here. 42-38. What a shootout. What a shootout. Lamar had an amazing game. Tua had an amazing game. Receivers on both sides had some amazing games. The defensive fronts, the power first shifted to the Ravens, and you could see how they were sucking the life out of the offense, our offense, and then their ability to run the football began to suck the life out of our defense. But then the arrogance of Harbaugh to continue to go for it on fourth down. First time hurt him. Second time hurt him. Both those played out big. And then Stephen Means went down. And you could see McDaniel kind of seeing some stuff, getting to that half, altering some things a little bit, brought Mostert in a little bit more, started attacking certain things. I got to look at the tape and see because it's really like a blur to me. And Boyer, he just looked shell-shocked. He looked like he just took the notes from Flores last year and replayed them out. And at the end, he kind of came through in some ways. Got to see how it plays out. Mostly it was McDaniel who showed that this, again, week 2, we don't know. Week 1, he outdid Belichick. Week 2, he outdid Harbaugh. Doesn't mean he's going to do it forever, but it's better than Hackett. So this guy's a cut above. We're seeing a cut above. We saw adjustments at halftime. A lot of penalties this game by the Dolphins, which I didn't like, but it's hard to say with the refs. I got to go back and look at the whole thing. But McDaniel outcoached and outsmarted Harbaugh, and that's another great sign. To me, there's a couple of major pieces, and McDaniel is a key, huge key. We can't keep swapping out these coaches like, dirty underwear. You ain't going to go nowhere. And now you got a quarterback. At least this guy is saying, hey, you know what? I could play. I could do something with this deal. You keep building around me. I mean, that's where we're at right now. We got the rest of the season to see it. So you got a coach and you got a quarterback. And that's the two major pieces. Got to look at the front agent, the front office, and we'll deal with that later. But these are two major pieces, and they're getting very good shine, and the arrow is heading in the right direction for us. This was such a big win. So really what it came down to is two poor secondaries, and our D front really started to take over in a way. We gave up some big plays, but we were able to kind of control things and constrict that run game a little bit on the Ravens and forced Lamar to throw. And Lamar kind of got a little tight towards the end. And our offense kept pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And he didn't have the firepower. And we had way more firepower. Their secondary was getting tired. They were all injured. And the time of possession, that controlling of the clock, keeping them on the field as the game wore on, you could see the Ravens just, totally being sucked away. Our time of possession was 34-47 to 25-13. That's almost 10-minute difference. This thin, beat-up defense was fading fast. And maybe that's why Harbaugh decided to go with it. He could see it. I don't know. But we outlasted them. And it was the likes of Wilkins, who had a tough week last week on a bad back. 8 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, tracking down Lamar downfield, coming in, disrupting all game, big game. Raekwon Davis in the middle, controlling things and not letting the Ravens control that center on a couple of big, short drives where we just held and held and held. And that is Davis and Wilkins. And those guys, Davis is on another wobbly knee again. It took a little injury early on, and this guy's got to have loads of credit. Wilkins, great guy. Big pick for us, 13th overall, I think. back a little balky. They came in and had amazing, amazing days. Riley at the linebacker spot, he actually played the best of linebackers, had loads of tackles. And then Rowe, he was injured last week. A couple of big stops popped up here and there. This guy is so big for us. So big for us. Now, the O-line, a lot of people are going to say, well, they're great now. They did better than the Ravens as the game wore on. The Ravens, they were kind of forced to rush 3 and only rush 4 because they needed to keep as much help in the secondary. And then they don't have the pass rush, especially with Means gone. And our offensive line made a few key blocks. And I believe, I got to go back and check, Eichenberg had a nice block along this one. He had some bad, he didn't turn a corner or anything, but he showed up on the radar. And that's all you could ask. And Connor Williams had a very, very good day. He was going against 355-pound Pierce, and he was holding his own in many, many years. I can't remember. I remember my man Tehran had a great run block, a couple of key blocks, got a little blown up early, playing on a bad toe. But this offensive line held it together long enough for that D to take over, kind of limit things a little bit, slow it down, and then McDaniel and this offense and Tua came through again and again and again. Not only were they prolific, not only did they get off the floor like a champ, they were clutch in the end. I was going to talk about McDaniel's fourth quarter stuff at the end, but I don't want to get into it. I just want to marinate in the goodness. Anyway, guys, this is Fan Curtis. I'm all over the place. I'm all excited. I'll get back to being more dialed in and organized tomorrow. But this is my two sons were doing the Waddle dance, and then the Dolphins started to lose. And my youngest son just took off. But my oldest son stuck around. And he demanded I do the Waddle dance halfway through the third quarter. I got up and did the Waddle dance. Fortunes started changing. And my son waited to the end of the game. And when Waddle scored the touchdown, he was doing a Waddle dance. And he made me do the Waddle dance. And that was magic. Thank you, Miami Dolphins, for bringing that to my family. Thank you, Tua and Hill and Waddle and all the defense. You guys made a great day in Curtis's house. Thank you, Phins fans. Thank you, Miami Dolphins. I am going to have a coronary somewhere in the corner and relax. What a day. Curtis saying, catch you next time. Be well. Start building your own online sportsbook today by getting signed up with acebread.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.